And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us this morning and every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We were off for Labor Day, but we did air 7 specials yesterday for you that went beyond 11 a.m., so it was like we were with you. Anyways, I can't seem to not work. When you love what you do and you do what you love, even when you say you're off, you're not really off. So thank you for your support and thank you for watching those videos. You can go and catch them on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, 2 places where you find us live. You can also find our archive of videos airing yesterday, my specials with the Louisville Cardinals, the Boston College Eagles, the Clemson Tigers, and then my series brought to you by the Brooklyn Pickle in North Carolina. That's Brooklyn Pickle on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, down the road from Pinehurst Golf Courses. And those specials were with the UNC Tar Heels, the Duke Blue Devils, as well as the NC State Wolfpack and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. We are live worldwide with you right now on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. A very jam-packed show today filled with awesome guests chasing their dreams, and I love the opportunity to speak with them in this path that they have in the journey that they're taking. Inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Up first with us live, Cole Burgess going to be joining us in just a second, picture-in-picture. The man went from being at SUNY Cortland, coming from upstate New York, going to SUNY Cortland, winning a national championship in 2023. I remember watching that game with my dad. I actually talked to my dad about it last night. And then going to the Cincinnati Bengals as an undrafted rookie, being with them through rookie minicamp, through training camp, through the preseason, and is now on the practice squad, one step away from being on the field with the Cincinnati Bengals. Man, this story of Cole Burgess is already awesome, and I think it's only going to get better. And in hour number 2, we have our Bearcat time. As you know, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the Binghamton University Bearcats join us in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Tynan Jones of the Binghamton men's golf team is going to be joining me on the heels of finishing in the top 20 in the first event of the 2024 season for Binghamton men's golf. And then we'll have Kingsley Jonathan of the Buffalo Bills joining the show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. My special with him will air from the Syracuse Orange history and in year 3 inside of the NFL. He's been with the Buffalo Bills for a part of year 1 and the Chicago Bears, then all of year 2 with Buffalo, back in year 3 with the Buffalo Bills and on their practice squad at defensive end. And we'll round out the show with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli. So a lot of great stuff coming up here today. And the man is picture-in-picture here with me. Once again, SUNY Cortland wide receiver alum, 2023 national champion, and Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver Cole Burgess. Cole, every time we talk, I add something cool to the lineup here. I don't know what it's going to be, 100-yard game, whatever it's going to be from here, but welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me on. And, hearing that national championship, that never gets old.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's such an incredible feat. And how many people can claim that they're champions or national champions for that matter? And I mean, such an awesome game, a finish that will last forever, and a game that was literally pound for pound, back and forth, play after play after play. We look at all this offense, and then defense came and won it at the end there. So just a game that will be remembered forever. I remember exactly where I was. I know what I was doing. I know who I was with. And let's start there. Now that we've had some time, it's marinated. It's been over a year. When I say national championship, what is the first picture that you remember from that game? Like the first thing that comes to your mind?
The first thing is honestly just being on the field and playing in it because, yeah, it was just another football game, but in the same sense, it wasn't. And I remember feeling that when I was on the field, like it just felt different. Like it felt like a different football game than I've ever played. So just thinking about that and just being out there with my guys playing in the biggest game in Cortland football history.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, just being out there, just playing. Do you remember, so like when the game ended, when all was said and done, do you recall the first thing that you did when the clock finally goes to zero and you look at it and you make sure, and if you're like me, you kind of rub your eyes and you're like, is it done? Like, are we over? Are we through it? And so when that's all finished, do you remember the first thing that you did the moment that it hit zero?
The only reason why I remember is because I've watched the replay of it about countless times. So I remember I was on the field, we took the knee, and then it was the last knee of the game, so the clock could go down to zero. And I kind of hesitated for a second because I was in disbelief that it was actually over. And then once I saw everybody running on the field, I ran at them. And then from there, it was all just like a blur. I remember hugging everybody, anybody and everybody, all the fans on our side came on the field, and I was hugging moms, dads, alumni, old teammates, just everybody. It was just a really special moment, and I'm glad everybody was there to share that. It was really just special. All the fireworks going off, and all the tears of joy, all the smiles, and just this belief in everybody's face that we really just did the impossible.
Yeah, and you talk about doing the impossible. We're here with Cole Burgess on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, national champion with the SUNY Cortland Red Dragons, and of course, seeing all the work that you've done with the Cincinnati Bengals, doing the impossible, undrafted rookie, Division III, and like you've talked to me about on the show before, counted out time after time after time. Yet right after the draft, you get a phone call from the Cincinnati Bengals and you go to rookie mini camp. And after going to rookie mini camp, it's training camp, it's preseason, and you're still connected with the team. Bring me into rookie mini camp and let's start there. What went right at rookie mini camp, and what can you tell me about that?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Rookie minicamp here, it was nothing. It was like 45 minutes of individual work on the field, just running routes, and that was that. Rookie minicamp really wasn't much of anything. But then OTAs followed, and OTAs was more like kind of light practice, individual work, and then we did a lot of walkthrough, learning the playbook and stuff like that. So near the end of OTAs, we put the helmets on and we started competing. But really, OTAs was more of just mental, getting the playbook down, learning the routes, learning how we're supposed to run certain things, and just learning the ins and outs of the offense because that was a huge transition to me coming from a Division III playbook to a NFL caliber playbook. It was just night and day, and I'm finally to the point now where I understand it and I can hear the play call in the huddle and go line up. But it took a while before then.
Yeah, like you said, it took time to learn that playbook. How did you get through it? How did you learn it? Like, because there's different things that people do to allow themselves the opportunity to retain information. And it's not just a playbook, it could be, anything that you're doing in school or you're studying. I remember when my mom was becoming a flight attendant and we were doing flashcards and kind of going through different things. What was your system of how you retained information and how you learned the playbook?
Yeah, I just had a huge study system with flashcards. I used Quizlet. I used mainly those two. I would draw out the plays. I would listen to the play call and try to just picture what it looked like for each wide receiver. But I'm the type of person that when I put my mind to something, like my mindset was set on I'm gonna perfect this offense. Coming from an undrafted position, like I'm gonna perfect this offense, and I'm not gonna have them hold that against me. Like, oh, this kid doesn't know the offense. So that was my mindset coming in. And over the summer, I worked hard at it. And then by the time I came back for training camp, everything just clicked for me, and I was able to go in the huddle, hear the play call from the quarterback, and just know exactly what was happening, what I had to do. And I also just knew like the concept of everything. Like I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew what the what everybody else was doing and like what we wanted to get out of the play.
Yeah, and like you said, going through this and just learning it and not going to let that be used against you like, oh, this is undrafted rookie, he doesn't understand the playbook and whatnot. Controlling your destiny, right? Because if you get drafted in the first round as a wide receiver or the second or the third or whatever that may be, if you're pick number 1, pick number 15, pick number 240, or if you're not drafted, you still have to learn the playbook. We've seen guys that have been drafted early. We've seen guys that, they spend a lot of money on, put out there very early, and they just don't click with the team, be it not knowing the playbook or not doing certain things that they're supposed to be doing, or maybe it's just the regimen that they have is a little bit different. The controlling the controllables once the draft is over, in my opinion, Cole, and you could tell me this is different, but it doesn't matter where you're drafted. It doesn't matter if you're drafted. It matters how hard you work. And I think that people sometimes get lost in, oh, that's a first round pick. This guy's going to do this, this, and this. Oh, this is an undrafted guy. He should feel lucky just to be there, where you didn't treat it as luck. You treated it as work. You treated it as something that you could control what you can do. And I think that there's a lot to be said about a guy who knows the playbook, because if you draft someone in the first round and they don't, they might not make the team.
Well, first round, they're going to make the team regardless. You know,
I say what round. I mean? Like I'm looking at some of these guys that, you know, that have moved around and been journeymen after their first year or two. And you look at training camp and a bunch of fumbles and different things happening. And then you're going, okay, what's happening with this guy? They got him so early, and now he's been on another team, 2 other teams already.
Yeah, I just looked at it as an opportunity to just separate myself, you know, like if coach sees that I know what I'm doing and the other guys don't know as much, like that just helps me more. Like, oh, well, the undrafted guy, he knows what he's doing. We can put him in at X, we can put him in at F or Z. It doesn't matter. He knows what he's doing. And then just getting to practice early, doing work after practice, and just all the little things I try to make sure that I'm doing, because, you know, I need to, coming from where I'm coming from as an undrafted free agent. Those things add up, and it just shows my drive and my will to be there.
Yeah, you know, and like you said, having those controllables and doing that. I mean, have you always kind of thought about things that way? Did somebody teach you along the way, like, hey, you know, don't use anything as a crutch, don't use anything as an excuse. Like, when you show up, whether they think you're the best guy there or they think you're an afterthought, do what you can do. Did someone teach you it doesn't matter what the hype is around you or the lack of hype, this is what, you know, is expected of you? Or did you over time kind of just say to yourself, like, listen, I can't buy into what they think I am, I just have to be me?
I think it's just something that I've always done. Is even in college, you know, I always showed up and I gave it my all in every practice. It didn't matter if it was the day before the national championship. Like, I remember going out there and practicing like it was the first day of training camp. But that's just something I've always done. And yeah, I don't really know when that started. It's just kind of been who I've been.
Here with Cole Burgess on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, SUNY Cortland alum, and with the Cincinnati Bengals. So we get through rookie minicamp. We go into training camp. Bring me into that experience and what kind of got bumped up a notch. You know, as you have the rookies there, now the whole team's back. Now we're into training camp. Now there's, you know, a ton of people around, a lot of things happening at once. Bring me into that transition and what life was like in that world when you started to see more people come into the building, vets come into the building, just what that was like.
Yeah, well, we had everybody in the building in OTAs. There was only, besides like Jamar, he came for the last day, and then Trent Brown, he wasn't there in OTAs. But for the most part, everybody was there during OTAs. OT wasn't there in OTAs because he was trying to get his new contract. But so I was used to having everybody there. But I say the biggest thing for training camp was like having fans there. I've never practiced in front of hundreds. I don't even know how many, maybe thousands of fans. I don't know the exact amount, but there was a lot of fans there every day. And, you know, we practiced at the hottest time of the day to get ready for the season. So we're practicing in 95-degree weather, probably felt like 100 degrees, and just 2-hour practices, pads on, pads clanking with each other with the defense. And you know, it was strenuous. It was stressful at times. You know, it felt like it was never going to end. Each day was the same. You know, wake up, go to the building. You don't leave the building until 7 o'clock. And yeah, it was just, now that it's over, looking back on it, you know, the hard part is over in a way, because that was just a drawn out process of a lot of football, a lot of meetings. And now that we get into the, you know, the routine of the season, things change a little bit. We're not practicing as hard. We practice now that the season starts 3 days a week. So, yeah. So now that we got through training camp, like I feel like I can do anything, because that was definitely a tough process.
Yeah, like you said, training camp, a tough process. Can you compare it to anything that you've ever experienced, or what was it about that training camp? Because you talk about, hey, when I was preparing for the national championship, it was like the first day of camp for me at SUNY Cortland. What was the first day of this camp like for you, how you would describe when training camp opened post OTAs, what that moment was like.
Well, if I'm gonna be honest, like training camp here felt like training camp at Cortland, like in the sense that training camp's the same for football is football. You know what I mean? Like there's meetings, there's practice, there's lift,
Yeah.
and then there's more meetings. So it wasn't really anything different in that sense. It's more so just the fact that there's a lot more on the line here, a lot more like, things go good, that's good for you. Things go bad, that's not good for you. And you got fans there, so that holds you accountable in a sense too. So
Yeah.
it was just that part of it was different, having more on the line.
And so you have this experience of going through all of this. You're somebody who we were talking about it on off the air before we got started today. You're someone that is used to being counted out, used to being overlooked, and you don't use it as a crutch. You use it as a badge of honor. When you were going through all of this and you're away from home, you're away from the state of New York, did you have any moments where you had to really like pull it out of yourself and say, hey, we've done it before, we'll do it again, we've been counted out before? Did you have any of those moments of a fork in the road at Cincinnati, so to speak, where you really had to dig deep during your time here so far?
Yeah, I'd say there was some glimpses of that, but for the most part, I stayed positive, just knowing that I'm in a position that not many people can be in or are in, and I'm literally doing my dream job. So I try to keep that perspective that I don't have to do this, I don't have to do any of this, I get to do all of this. So I try to keep that perspective the whole time, and I still keep that perspective. When I go in the building in the morning, like, oh, my alarm clock goes off, instead of like, oh, I got to go to work. Like, nah, I get to go be an NFL player for the day.
And when I want to go back to rookie minicamp for a second, the guys that came in as rookies, is there anybody that kind of stood out to you? Any relationships that you've gotten to build when you look at the other rookies, just what that experience was like when you got to have that minicamp?
Yeah, I made a lot of connections with these guys from LSU, just all over the country. You bring a bunch of guys from different colleges into one spot. We built connections, and I think I built more connections with the rookies because we came in the same time. We put in more work together than we did with the vets and stuff. So, that was tough seeing some of my friends go, but that's just the nature of the beast and something I'm gonna have to get used to.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you've seen the nature of the business right away. So, getting to know these guys, coming in, rookie mini camp, spending time together, talking with each other, making those memories. And then the next day you go to the locker room and that locker's been cleaned out or it's somebody else's locker. How have you dealt with how quickly this business runs in the NFL?
Yeah, the first time it happened, it definitely shocked me a little bit. It shook me and like made me realize like, oh, snap, like this stuff's real, and made me realize like this isn't permanent. Like I can be gone. That could have been me. So, but I say once the first couple got out the way, then I just learned it's just part of the business. Like there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing they can do about it. All I can do is just worry about me, worry about my job, and what I do to make sure that my locker's not the one getting cleaned out.
And why do you think it hasn't been? What is it about Cole Burgess that you think has value to Cincinnati?
Yeah, I think it's the stuff that we talked about before, and I think the coaches see the potential in me. They know that I might be a project in the sense of like my routes and stuff, but they see a lot of potential. They know I got a high ceiling, and they want to see what that ceiling is. I know the playbook. They know that I know the playbook, and yeah, they can see the potential in me.
Cole, you said that the routes may be a place of work for you. Where have you improved in that respect? What can you tell me from the moment that you came into Cincinnati to right now, where you are route running wise and where you would like to improve, since you mentioned that?
Yeah, just top of the route stuff, details, speed cuts, curls, just top of the breaks. I'd say that's the difference maker because as a receiver, you're going up against a DB, and when you break, the DB is going to break, and at that point, it's a race to the ball. So just working on my efficiency in and out of my breaks so that when I break down, I'm getting the ball before the DB, and just little things like that I got away with at Cortland because, not having the best technique still was enough for me to be great there. But I'm going up against guys who are just as fast as me, if not faster. So I got to make sure I got all the tiny things down to maximize my opportunities to make plays.
Yeah, and as we're sitting here right now, I think something that's really cool is you've been in a hotel for a while since you've been in Cincinnati. You're moving in to your apartment today. So we talk about you believing in yourself, you betting on yourself, and you are literally doing that today. You're making that decision of I'm getting myself a place. I'm not just staying in the hotel. I'm getting an apartment and we're going to see this thing through. Just bring me into that because not everybody does that. I mean, I was down in Jacksonville with Jadon Mickens, didn't know if he was going to make the team or not. He was sleeping in his car. So, what
Yeah.
makes you say, you know what? I'm getting it. I'm getting the apartment. I'm believing in it. I'm doubling down on it because I think it's awesome all that you've done for your dreams and I know it's going to pay off. So I just love to, number one, say congratulations on going into your apartment today. And number two, why you made the decision to invest in yourself once again.
Yeah, honestly, that's just something I've always bet on myself, and this is kind of like a way that I do it. Like knowing that I have a year lease on this apartment is like, all right, I got to make sure I'm here until next September. It's just another thing that I got to accomplish. And I another thing is I can't keep living in this hotel. Since OTAs and training camp, I've spent about 11 weeks in a hotel room, and
Yeah.
and it's time for me to get out of here. But yeah, just holding myself accountable. Like I have a year lease on this apartment, and I got to make sure that I'm here to see through the whole lease. That's my goal as of right now. My goal is to be here in September,
Yeah,
next September.
and had that final cuts, right? The 53-man roster, and you don't make it on the roster, but then they say, hey, we're keeping you here, though, practice squad. And I know how vital the practice squad, from all the years of covering the NFL, you are one play away, one moment away, one coach's decision of, I want to get this guy in because I think he can do this, right? Week 3 happens, somebody goes down. Week 4 happens, I think that this guy's running better routes, doing better things. Let's throw him in here and see what happens here. Or these guys were neck and neck in training camp, and it was a really tough decision for me to make after the preseason. I tried this guy for the first 7 weeks, and now I want to try the other guy and see what he can do in week 8. It is right there moment. So bring me into you don't make it on the 53-man roster, your reaction to that and how you found out, and then having but we're not getting rid of you. You're staying with us on the practice squad.
Yeah, it's stressful. Even though like I had a good feeling that I was going to come back to the practice squad, but you still just never know. So when I got called in the coach's office that Tuesday morning, I knew what the deal was, but I was just praying that he said that, stick around. We want you to come back to practice squad, and that's what ended up happening. It was a quick meeting. Coach said a few good things about what he sees in me and stuff, and he wanted me to stick around. And if I cleared waivers, I was going to come on back to be on the practice squad. So, knowing that gave me a sigh of relief. And realistically, my goal coming here, obviously I wanted to make the 53, but we have a loaded wide receiver room, and I knew that. So I knew that practice squad was going to be my chance to stick around here. And, next year, who knows who stays, who goes, and just being in the building and sticking around is really all I want to do. And being on the practice squad gives me that opportunity and gives me a chance to grow as a receiver and just get more accustomed to the NFL.
And that practice squad, for you to be a part of this team, I think it's important for people to know that practice squad doesn't mean you're off on some island by yourself. You are very much a part of the team. You're working with the team, and you're just on game day, not there on the sideline. But this is something that is still very much the Cincinnati Bengals. It's very much the organization, and you're a part of this. Just what you could say to that effect of, as much as you're not on the 53-man roster at this very moment, do you still feel a part of the franchise? Do you still feel a part of, the ins and outs and the organization and whatnot? Because I think that that's a common misconception, that people think the practice squad is way, way over here down the road and here's the team, where in reality, the practice squad is right there with the team. Like I said, a step away from being called in. It's just not there on game day.
Right. And the way I can describe it is the practice squad does literally everything that the active roster does. Practice meetings. We're in all the meetings with all the players, all the practices, all the lifts. The only thing is we don't play on the games if we're not active. But on home games, we'll be on the sideline in Bengals gear. away games we won't travel, but other than that, like we're doing everything that the team does.
Yeah, with your story, Cole, and with all the things we've talked about, for someone counted out, for someone used as an afterthought, I know exactly what that feels like too. You get something good, and you could say, okay, this is enough. I got on the team. I made the team. I'm playing in college. I got this many yards in the game, so I don't have to go any farther. Okay, I'm a national champion. That's great. I don't need to do anything else. Okay, I made it to rookie minicamp. I got a call. I can at least say that I went to a camp. I made it to preseason. I can say that. I made it to the practice squad. I don't need to go any higher. You've never been a person that says, I got this blessing. I'm going to stop working. I know that you're proud of where you are, but I trust my vibes and I trust my gut. I know you just, in my opinion, you're just getting started. What is it about you that every time you're counted out, every time it sometimes feels like it's you believing versus the world, you achieve something and you don't rest in it. You don't say, I achieved it, that's good enough, I'm done. You achieve it, you appreciate it, and then you just go after it. It's kind of like catching a pass. And after you catch that ball and you got 9 yards, you're like, okay, got to get the first down. Okay, got to get to the 30. Okay, got to get in the end zone. Why do you keep fighting for the end zone no matter all of the things you've achieved? Why is Cole Burgess not satisfied with whatever's up to this point? You're always working for more.
Yeah, I mean, I just love, practice squad was never really my goal. My goal was to be in the NFL. My goal was to make plays in the NFL. So like I know there's more to come. This is just a stepping stone for me, honestly. But yeah, really I love setting goals and I love accomplishing goals. I love doing things that people think I can't do. I love proving to people that believe in me right. I love proving the people that don't believe in me wrong. Like there's just a lot of things that go with it that fuels me, but yeah, I just have an uncanny ability of setting goals and accomplishing them. And when I put my mind to something, there's not much that I can't do. There's really nothing I can't do. So this is just another thing. I'll be off the practice squad next year, and there's gonna be games this year where I'll be on the active roster. It's just a matter of when. And I'm happy where I'm at right now. Practice squad. That might make some people be like, oh, you're just on the practice squad. But for me, that's just I'm in the building. I'm doing everything. I'm working with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and I'm one step away. Like you said, I'm one play away from being on the active roster. So I know that, and I'm preparing like I'm playing this week against the Patriots, even though chances are I'll be on the sideline. But when my moment comes, I'm going to make sure I'm there, and then I'll never be back on the practice squad.
Yeah, and you got to work in the preseason, get out there, caught a couple passes against the Bears, caught a pass against the Colts. Bring me into that because yes, it's preseason, but it's the NFL. You're suited up, and you're laced up, you're ready to go, you're padded up, and you're going up against another team. You got to feel the atmosphere, albeit preseason. It's a game. You're fighting for your life. You're fighting for the roster. There could be a route that you ran in that game where the ball didn't come anywhere near you, but a coach is going back, looking at that, going, that's why we're keeping him. They could see a decision that you made, a block that you put on, and said, that's why we're going to keep Cole around. So when you go back to those games in the preseason, just what that experience was like. I know you said that it's only the beginning, and I believe that, but to strap up against another NFL team and get on the field and see the fans and be in the arena, that had to give you a little taste of what's to come, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was cool. Realistically, like when I was out there, it didn't feel any different than the national championship. It felt like just another football game for me because, I'm out there and I get to play call, line up, and I play football. That's really all it is. And I know that I can compete with the guys across from me. I made plays in practice. I made plays in games. So that was not in my head like, oh, I'm in the NFL. These guys are better than me. Nah, like I knew I was capable to compete with them, and I made I didn't really get many targets, but I ran good routes. I knew all my assignments, all the plays. I showed explosiveness on kick return, and throughout the training camp and preseason, like I showed the coaches my toughness and my ability to bounce back from injury. I tweaked my hamstring midway through training camp, and I came back in a week, and they thought I was going to be out for multiple weeks, with a hamstring. And then against the Colts, literally my first play in there, I'm blocking for a run play, and my shoulder pops out because I have a torn labrum and it's not really secure. It pops out. I popped it back in. I sit out for a play, and they put me back in. So just showing my toughness, showing my drive, my will, my want to be out there, and just all of that combined, it just, I think, is the reason why I'm still here, just showing the coaches why I should be here.
Yeah, and you said, you talked about what you did on special teams and in your play on kick return. Bring me into that side of it, because if you can show value, the more value you can show, the better off you are. And special teams gets the least amount of love of the three phases of the game. I don't understand why, because it literally dictates where the offense starts and where the defense has to defend from. So bring me into special teams and what you wanted to do to show your ability there, your decision making, your speed, your movement, your hands. There's a lot of things you can show on special teams, and how you feel that being there as a returner can create more value than simply just wide receiver for the Bengals.
Yeah, well, kick return. We'll talk about kick return because that's all I did in preseason. Yeah. But I just wanted to show, starting with catching the kick, I was able to catch the kick clean and catch it rolling into the return, so that I'm not, wasting any time, because the new rule is once the ball touches the ground or the returner catches it, that's when the kickoff team comes and everybody can move. So being able to show that, being able to show my speed and explosiveness hitting the hole, but also being able to read the holes and show the special teams coach that, all right, he read the right hole. It was there. So if we block it up right, he's taking that to the 40 or 50-yard line. Just the little things. Even though I didn't take it to the end zone, I was still making the right read, and I was still showing my explosiveness and willingness to, go run through contact, go run through 2 tackles to try to get 3 extra yards.
You made the mention of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. What is it like being around those guys? Have you gotten to spend some time with them? Did you take anything away from them? Did they give you, or anybody on the staff in the receiving corps in Cincinnati, give you any memorable advice that you're like, all right, you know what? I'm going to keep that top of mind?
Yeah, it's just like little things that I would never think of, just knowing that they're great at what they do. So whenever they tell me anything, whatever it may be, I just take that and I keep that in the back of my head. Like, okay, well, this is what Jamar does, and he's a Pro Bowler. Or this is what T. Higgins does, and he caught 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Like, yeah. Whatever they say, I'm taking that and I'm running with it. Whatever my coach says. He won the Biletnikoff in college. He was a receiver in the NFL for 8 years or so. I'm not sure exactly what, but or even guys like Trent Irwin, an undrafted free agent going into year 7, who's literally doing what I want to do with my career. He came from where I came from, and he's here year 7, still kicking it in the NFL, and honestly in the biggest role he's ever been in. So whatever they tell me, any tips and tricks, I'm gonna run with it, because I know that's my best chance to be successful in this league.
Yeah, and like you said, taking little pieces of everything. What would be your piece of advice to somebody out there, not just receivers, but someone who's chasing their dreams and believing at times where they feel like maybe they're the only one really thinking they can do it? You have been a beacon of hope for a lot of people. You continue to be, and like I said, and you said, this is only the beginning of that. What do you want to say to people out there that have maybe hit a wall and need to keep moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, if you have goals, big dreams that you want to accomplish, you have to be obsessed with that dream. Write all your goals down on the mirror so you see them every day when you wake up or go to bed, and then you cross them off as you accomplish them. Have a journal, and in the journal, write all your goals down. Write your ideal, like how you want it to play out. I have a journal where I write my dreams, but I also write my dreams as if they already happened. And then, that's what happened with the national championship. I wrote down how it was going to be when we won the national championship. And lo and behold, that's what happened. You need to really obsess with it. You need to meditate on it. You need to think about it every day. And you need to make sure that that's that you're working towards your goal every day. And then if you're doing that, there's no way that you don't accomplish your goals.
Cole, what's been fun? We've talked about X's and O's. We've discuss the different things that you've learned, things that you had to do, moments of adversity. moments of, grace and appreciating and being thankful for the situation that you're in and seeing what your faith has brought you and all of that. We've looked at a lot of different elements of this, but what has been fun about doing what you do, right? You said this is your dream. So what's been fun so far?
Yeah, there's something every day about it that's fun, just like I said, I'm going to work every day doing my dream job that I've had since I was a child. Like my 8-year-old self is probably like happy as hell right now, like, oh, I'm playing in the NFL. But just we had a joint practice with the Colts, and I didn't even know that Joe Flacco was on the team, and I'm out there warming up. All of a sudden, I see Joe Flacco walking by, and I'm just like, wow, that's Joe Flacco. Like he's a quarterback of my childhood right there. And just being able to go into the building every day and seeing all the Bengals logos and knowing like this is my employer, this is my job, this is what I get to do every day, and it's special, and I'm grateful for it every day.
Yeah, and that support, like you talked about, that support that has been with you, the people that, are family, friends, and at the same time, total strangers that are fans there in the stands at SUNY Cortland, fans at the national championship, fans that became fans after the national championship, fans that got to know your story, fans of Cincinnati, saw you coming in and looking at your name and going, who's this kid? Where's he from? What do you want to say to all of the people that are really rooting for you and trying to amplify that fire that you have burning inside you?
Yeah, I would just tell them that I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who's stuck with me and who's been rooting for me this far. But just know that there's a lot more coming, and stick around because it's gonna be fun to watch.
What do you see? You said the 8-year-old you would be so happy right now, so thrilled to know you're playing in the NFL. What do you see? Because you talked to me about not just writing your goals, but putting these things on the mirror as if they've already happened. Like we're gonna win the national championship, then we go out there and do it. So what's been written on your mirror now, I guess, is what I'm asking. What do you see?
Yeah, I just have this vision of. So I had a teammate last year, Joe Idivio, who he's a stud receiver. He was number 6 on the national championship team, slot receiver, and he came. He was, he knew what he was doing since a freshman. He made plays, but he was always behind, a few guys in the slot. And then we had a few guys go down in the season last year. He jumps in halfway through the season, and our offense doesn't skip a beat. We just keep going. We honestly started playing better, and he was a big part of that team winning the national championship, and we won the national championship. So in my head, that's how it's going to happen this year. And at some point, like I'm going to be on the practice squad. Some things are going to happen. They're going to activate me, and I'm going to be a piece of the Bengals Super Bowl run.
For you, what's the day-to-day like now? What's the regimen? What are you doing? What are you working on? I know you said, learning the playbook is in your control and you wanted to make sure that nobody could use that against you. What's the Cole Burgess thing now when it comes to working out and the overall training, film, studying the playbook? What's the day-to-day like for you?
Yeah, well, now we're getting the more game plan stuff. So just knowing our game plan, knowing what formations we're going to be running, what plays out of, and the defense, the personnel we're going to be getting. Even though I might not be out there, like I still want to prepare as if I am going to be out there and show coach that, hey, I'm ready. I know what I'm doing. And also being on scout team and giving our defense the best look, and just even though I'm on scout team, still go out there and try to get better and just make plays.
Yeah. And you had the opportunity quarterback-wise to work with Logan Woodside. What can you say about his play at quarterback and just what his elements maybe that made you better since you were out there in the preseason together, just what Logan's done?
Yeah, Logan's been good, since OTAs. He's been quarterback 3-ish. So
yeah,
he's been the one working with me, mostly taking reps with me, and just, getting on the same page with him and getting reps with him and talking through things with him has definitely been helpful, picking his brain about certain things and him telling me stuff. So working with him has been good. And Jake Browning, he's another one I've gotten a few reps with. So those guys have been good for my development here.
Yeah, and Jake Browning was a guy I was going to bring up here because he did so well in with Joe Burrow being out that there was. I mean, my thought was that he was maybe not going to be in Cincinnati. That one of the teams, like a Minnesota Vikings, was going to go and pick him up because of what he showed he could do. You said you gotten to take some reps with Jake Browning. What's he been like? We just spoke about Logan. Jake, I think, is a guy who could arguably start on a team, be one of those backups that is ready, like you said, to be ready to go yourself. He seems like one of those guys that's very prepared to take the reins. What can you say about him?
Yeah, well, Jake can throw the ball. There's been multiple reps where we're going against the defense and I'm running a route and he throws a ball and the ball's in the air, and in my head mid play I'm like, wow, this is the perfect ball. Like I literally see it go right over the defender's fingertips and just right into my arms. It's like he's a great quarterback in that sense. He knows the playbook too. Obviously, he knows the playbook in and out just like he should. But yeah, his ability to put the ball exactly where it's got to be is pretty impressive.
And Dan Pitcher, you and I spoke about this before, the fact that there are multiple Cortland connections on this Cincinnati Bengals team. Dan Pitcher, the offensive coordinator, went to school at SUNY Cortland. His hometown is Cortland, New York. What's it been like working with him and just that experience you've had with Dan? Because he is the guy overseeing this offense. He is the one creating this playbook. He is the one that is the mind of the music, so to speak. So to not only have Dan there as a coach, but to have that Cortland connection, you and I have talked about it before, but to live in that physically in Cincinnati, to go there and be like, oh, Cortland guy. What's that experience been like for you to have that on the Cincinnati Bengals, and what's it been like to learn from him?
Yeah, he's motivating for sure. Just, seeing him go up in front of the whole offense in the meeting room and command the whole room and their attention, and to get his message across, like knowing that he came from where I come from and he's at the position he's at is just motivating, and it's what makes me think that I can do anything I want just because he's one step away from being a head coach. He's literally an offensive coordinator, and he was playing over at Stadium Red where I was playing last year. So it's motivating. It's cool seeing him, work with Joe Burrow, like he's Joe Burrow's right-hand man. It's cool seeing everything he's doing, everything he's accomplished already, and just knowing that he's a Cortland alum like me.
How has your relationship grown from him being on site in Cincinnati for all these months?
Yeah, it's grown quite a bit, just seeing him in the building every day, saying what's up, we had a few meetings before just talking about like where I'm at and what he likes about my game and he thinks I can work on. It's cool having somebody in the building who is from a small school like me. When he first got here, he probably went through the same type of growing process that I'm going through. So having him being here already, he's kind of helped me through there, just like after I run a route, he's like, hey, good job on that route. Just having like him say little things like that for me, boosting my confidence, just knowing that he's watching, he's there, and he's from where I'm from. That's cool to have.
Yeah, and having those notes here with Cole Burgess before we jump into rapid fire on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the notes that you said that he gave you, the things that he's liked. What has Dan Pitcher, the offensive coordinator and SUNY Cortland alum as well, what has he said to you about what he does find in your game to be positive, those things that are of value, the notes that he's given you, what have they been? Because I'm sure that those are ever important and they affect, the things you can control. So what has he told you so far?
Yeah, he says that I've got elite speed, in and out of my breaks. If I can work on the little things about my breaks, that I can be an even better route runner. My work ethic and my just knowing the playbook, all those things combined. He says that I have great potential in this building, and that's why I'm still here on the practice squad.
And Zach Taylor, the head coach, just what you can say about his leadership. You and I were talking off the air about Cincinnati just having a different feel. They have continuity, which is something that you don't find with every NFL franchise. What's Zach Taylor like as a leader?
Yeah, that's that. He's just a leader. It's hard to explain, but he just comes in the building. He's the same guy every day. He's never too high. He's never too low. He always delivers the right message when it's needed. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with him more and more throughout the season.
All right, let's jump into rapid fire here with Cole Burgess, SUNY Cortland wide receiver alum, 2023 national champion, and Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver, going through rookie minicamp and OTAs with the team after being an undrafted rookie, going into training camp, the preseason, catching some passes there against the Chicago Bears and the Indianapolis Colts, and making it onto the practice squad. Cole, you get the first question. What do you got for me?
Oh, what do I got for you? Who are those jerseys on the back wall right there? I've been wondering about those.
Yeah, so those jerseys. So I made a promise, and we talk about you and I having a lot of similarities when it comes to dreams and aspirations and believing in ourselves. John Strayevsky. So here's a really funny, tiny world. You mentioned Joe Flacco, and you said that's a quarterback of my childhood. Well, Joe Flacco played for who? The Blue Hens of Delaware. Well, his kicker
Oh, wow.
was John Strayevsky. And so John and I somehow crossed paths, and he played for the Philadelphia Soul in the AFL at the time, Arena League. And I said to him, I was like, I'm making a Hall of Fame wall. I would love to have your jersey, and I promise you it will be the first one. I promise you that no matter what, your jersey will be up there. He sent me, I literally feel like he took the jersey off from a game. It was still like damp, like he had sweat in this jersey, took it off, signed it, put it in the mail like right after the game, and it came over to me. So that's John Strayevsky. Funny story how God works in faith and all of that, because you mentioned Joe Flacco, and that's his kicker. And then on the other side of me, my favorite number 21, he wore 21 and he wore 1 at Syracuse. That's my guy Wiggs, Julian Wiggum. That was in the Texas Bowl, which they won, and he promised me a jersey, and he signed it and put it up there. So I have a Hall of Fame wall that is behind me, but then my office is connected to my studio, and I'm going to continue to add these pieces. My question, going off of the question that you asked me, Cole, is do I get a Cole Burgess something to put on my wall? I mean, I think we've built a friendship here over these last few months. You're at Cortland. I grew up down the road from Cortland. I feel like there's bare pieces on my wall that should have a Cole Burgess thing up here.
I was thinking that's what is missing back there. So that we can make that happen for sure.
All right, yeah, because I am all about putting a Cole Burgess thing up here. What's your next question for me?
How long have you been doing this? Who's the favorite guest or like best guest you've had on? Most captivating, I guess.
Well, my favorite number is 21. I started when I got into college, and in November of this year, I will celebrate 21 years of broadcasting, which is insane because I'm 38. So I've been broadcasting longer in my life than I haven't been. And so that's just a true blessing from God for so many reasons. And, when you get up and, they tell you that, and I do this, I'm a culprit of this, is that you have the blessings in your life and then you want other stuff and you focus on that and you're like, oh man, I don't have this one thing, but I got all this other stuff. And waking up every day, doing what you love, as you know, and loving what you do, there's no substitute for that. And I don't feel like I'm working. And people are like, why were you up until 3:30 in the morning? Like, I was supposed to take Labor Day as a holiday, take some time off, and I was editing till 3:32 in the morning, and then I put up 7 specials, and then I did interviews, yesterday, and got some things ready, and did a fantasy league draft that I've been running. So it's because I love it. It's why do I do it? Because it's me. It's not I'm going to a job as Dan Tortora. It's I am the thing. This lives within me, and I try to give life to it. And God has well over blessed me in everything that we've gotten to do. Beyond that, who's my favorite guest? I mean, we do a bunch of different shows, not just Wake Up Call. And I've interviewed actresses, actors, writers, illustrators. I I will tell you this. Okay, so I don't really get starstruck. I'm a fan of Darkwing Duck. I don't know if you know who that is because you're younger than me, Cole, but Darkwing Duck was a Disney character that was like the coolest character. And he was like a forgotten child. He was on Disney afternoons and then he disappeared. Well, the guy that made Darkwing Duck, Tad Stones, I reached out to him and he agreed to do an interview. And I recorded the interview. And I remember I hung up the phone, I hit stop, and I sat there and I went, holy crap. I just talked to the guy that made Darkwing Duck. And I remember the girl that I was with at the time, I told her, and she just like kept going on with her life. I'm like, babe, I don't think you fully can understand. And we broke up. This is why. No, it's not why. But I was like, I was like, do you not get what just happened? And it's like, she's like, you interviewed Jim Boeheim and Roy, like all these people, and you just doing your thing. And she's like, Tad just, and I was like, yeah, because like my childhood, and he gave me like the coolest definition. I was like, how did you create Darkwing Duck? Like what did he come from? What inspired you? He said, I pictured if Batman had a child and stayed to raise that child while fighting crime. And I was like, that's the most gangster answer that I could get from anybody. So, yeah, I'd probably have to say Tad Stones. But honestly, I love talking to everybody. My question back to you, Cole. Best thing you've done in Cincinnati besides play football?
Best thing I've done. Oh, man. Spent a lot of football, but I've ate a lot of good food here. Skyline chili. That's kind of like a big thing around here. Chili, cheese dogs. I'd say just eat a lot of good food.
Eat a lot of good food? Okay.
Yeah, that's about it.
What's been the best?
The best? There's a restaurant. I forgot the name of it, but they had really good burgers that I enjoyed.
Okay. Really good burgers.
Yeah.
Final.
But hey, I gotta. This is the last one. I got another interview at 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, I know you got to get hopping. So I'm gonna have you jump here now. You spent a ton of time with us. Out there at some point this season, I truly believe that, and you got to put it into action, right? Believe in yourself, have faith in God, and know that He will open the doors that need to be open. Cole, as always, I appreciate you, man, and God bless with everything today. Please be safe when you're moving, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
All right, thank you, Dan. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, man. Anytime. I'll talk to you soon.
Later.
See you. That coming from Cole Burgess here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Always spends plenty of time with us, and I can't thank him enough for that. So, great stuff with Cole. Very happy to have him. And time flies by. It really does. Because in my head, I'm sitting here like I have so many questions about the experience of being in Cincinnati and everything that he's done up to this point and making it to the practice squad and all that. So, Jerry, that's what I thought you meant. So Jerry wrote in the feed, he's like, you always had ants in your pants at Marywood. And I was like, what does that mean? But I was always going. I don't think I stopped. There was a day at Marywood where, so I created MU Courtside, put a name on the basketball broadcast and a logo and graphics and all that good stuff, because we didn't even have the score on the screen before I got there, as far as I know, because I helped them put it on there. And so there was one day, it was a Saturday, and I woke up in the morning, probably woke up at like 9 o'clock, and I had a double header. So I broadcasted on radio and TV. I broadcasted a women's basketball game for Marywood University for the Pacers. Then immediately after a men's basketball game, then I ran from where I was on campus down the hill to the Performing Arts Center to be the technical operator of Tinkerbell for Peter Pan. Like literally doubleheader game, and then went to be the technical operator that had to bring Tinkerbell to life because she was a laser that looked like her. And so I was considered part of the tech crew because I was operating technology to bring her to life. But then I was also considered part of the cast because I was running Tinkerbell. So yeah, I'll never forget that day. I will never forget that day, because thank the good Lord that the entire team that was working on Peter Pan, I was like, I have a double header. And they're like, well, you're running Tinkerbell. And I was like, I know, but I have a double header. Like, I have to do it. And so they pushed it back a little bit and started the show for Peter Pan a little bit later that day so that I could get there. And I legitimately just ran. And I remember coming in and hearing the woman that was like helping run the show. I remember her going, "Where's my Tinkerbell?" And I looked down and I was like, "I'm right here." She goes, "Oh, okay, then we can get started." So she went from like just being like, "Where is he?" to, "Oh, there he is. Okay, all right, well, then we're fine." And I'll never forget that. So yes, Jerry, I did have ants in my pants at Marywood University. I still do now. I don't stop. You can see when I'm in my studio that I have to have a swivel chair because I'm constantly moving. My knee, when they say like they move your knee, you move your legs or shake your legs. And the statement from that of like why people do that I learned as a kid was, if you're sitting and you're like moving, you're shaking one of your legs, it means you're active. If you're shaking both of them, it means you're extremely active. So, yeah, my mom still to this day, with her son at 38 years old, I'll be like shaking my leg and she'll like reach across the table and stop my leg and be like, "Stop it." So I'm like, Mike, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just on the move. So a lot of great stuff. And we've just been getting started. That's the thing. And I'm so hungry, right? I know Cole is, I am, I'm so hungry, and I like being around hungry people because it pushes you, like I want to jump at the screen right now. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm in the seated position, but I'm like ready to go, right? I'm ready to get after it. We got an awesome show coming up for the rest of the way for you today. And then tonight, I'm going to be out at Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York. And I get to have a night broadcast with Tyler Rouse, get to do a welcome home broadcast for the guy who played with the Beeville Bees, had an insane career in high school, went to play for the Boston College Eagles collegiately, most recently was a part of the Tennessee Titans coaching staff in the NFL, and now he's back helping his alma mater in Baldwinsville with Carl Sanfilippo. And I get to do the broadcast tonight. I get to sit with Tyler Rouse. I've been wanting to talk with Tyler Rouse for like 8 years. We just had him on the show, and now we get to do a night with Tyler Rouse, spotlight broadcast welcoming him home, and it's going to be right there at Pizza Man, walking distance from the high school that he played at. Crazy. 6 p.m. tonight. Y'all better come out and hang out with us because it's going to be fun. So, I mean, I am. I'm moved by it. I'm grateful. And I'm so hungry right now. Like, I'm sitting in the studio right now, and everything inside my body is like, wanting to rise up and just, fly across the room and get after it. So I hope you can feel that energy. I hope you got that energy, and whatever's going on in your life, I hope God gives you every single bit of energy that you need to get through it. And I know you can. God bless to y'all. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We're going to be back with an all-new Bearcat break room. And for the first time on the show, Tynan Jones joining me from the Binghamton Bearcats men's golf team, coming off of his second top 20 finish of his collegiate career. And it is to start the season, the first event for Binghamton men's golf, and he's already in the top 20. And we'll take a step aside and come back with that special right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Proud to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. You know, on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide, we call it Bearcat Time, exclusively here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, featuring the Binghamton University Bearcats in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. I'm here with Tynan Jones of the Binghamton Bearcats men's golf team here in the 2024 season. And for the first time ever on the show, Tynan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And you know, Tynan, for you to be, you know, at Binghamton, make this decision, I kind of want to go back to the beginning of that for you. What was it about Binghamton University that just spoke to you and made you feel like this was going to be the right fit for you?
So when I was looking at schools and I was about a junior in high school, I remember Binghamton, I've obviously been familiar with it my whole life, being from like the Syracuse area in New York. But, you know, I was never somewhere I totally pictured myself going to school when I was younger. But then when I did my visit, finally met Coach Herzeg in person, I just kind of felt like it would be a good fit. And I really liked the campus, and I liked how it's a bigger school in terms of student population and smaller campus. So it's kind of nice on all those levels. So it kind of like checked a lot of the boxes for me, and it's close to home, which doesn't hurt. So just a place that felt right to end up at.
And you talked about being from the Syracuse area. Your hometown is Skaneateles, New York. What can you say? How would you describe? I mean, I like it out there. When people go out, they think of the water, they think of the gazebo, they might think of Blue Water Grill or some of those places to eat by the water and whatnot. They might think of the inn that's right there where weddings and receptions and different things happen. When you think of home, when you think of Skaneateles, what do you think of?
Well, I think about a lot of things. I would say Skaneateles Lake obviously comes to mind, and then Skaneateles Country Club, something that's, you know, very close, place is very close to my heart, and I spent a lot of time at. That's something that comes to mind also. But, you know, I also just think about the people there in the village and growing up playing hockey there. There's just a lot of good memories that I look back to when I think of home.
And like you said, those good memories that you think back to, do you remember the first moment that golf kind of had that special feeling for you, that something inside of you said, this is more than just for fun, this is something that I really want to pursue in my life?
I would say I have one specific memory. I was on vacation with my family, and I was probably about 11 or 12, and I was playing a golf round with some of my brothers and my dad, and this is kind of summer I started playing seriously. I was shooting like 120, like not a good golf or anything at that point, but just in the beginning stages. And I made my first par on a par three, and I remember that just being like the best feeling in the world. And I would say from there on out, my memories of golfing definitely increased, and I started playing more and more, and started taking it more and more serious.
And, we fast forward to now, and the season has begun, and the first event, the Alex Lagowitz Memorial at Seven Oaks Golf Club, you finished in the top 20 there. And to go back to it, when we take a look at how that went for you, you tied your lowest scoring round of your collegiate career, and that happened just over this weekend here at the end of August, and finished tied for 19th during the first event of the 2024-25 season. Bring me into this Alex Lagowitz Memorial and just how you felt like the event went to be in a place where you finished in the top 20, tied at 19, and at the same time tied your lowest score for a round that you've ever had in your collegiate career at Binghamton thus far.
So I'd say it was definitely a good event for me. It was nice to start up the season on a good foot. And obviously my goal this season was to, kind of finally put all the pieces together and start playing some more solid tournaments, having some better finishes, and contributing to a team a little bit more than I have in the past. Especially this being my senior season, I want to take advantage of the opportunity that I've been given and finally, play the best golf that I can play. I feel like I've kind of played good at times, but overall kind of underperformed in my career, so I really want to make the most out of this year. And so going into this past weekend, I was very focused on just being in the right frame of mind and really trusting my game, because I felt like everything was feeling good enough to produce some solid scoring and finish a decent tournament. So just really tried to dig deep mentally and hit the shots I had to hit and trusted myself, and made some silly mistakes here and there, which cost me a handful of shots, but overall, a lot of positives to take from the weekend.
Yeah, you kept talking about the mental, and when we look at any sport, the mental side, mental toughness, mental health, it's important. It's important in life to have mental health and mental toughness. In the sport of golf, when we talk about every bit of life having, like I said, that mental component to it, every sport having a mental component to it, I would argue that when it comes to the world of golf, it really does become a mind game because it is so unique. Basketball, you miss a shot and you're going to be right down the floor in a couple seconds. Golf, you don't take that shot you want on, the 13th hole, then you can't go back to the 13th. You're not going to replay that. You're not going to come back to that same position and get that same shot, that same opportunity. You're going to have to finish that hole, do what you need to do, and then go on to the 14th. How much of a mental game is golf comparative to maybe other things in your life? Do you feel like when it comes to the mind, golf is in a league of its own, in its own kind of way, so to speak?
I would definitely agree that it's in a league of its own. I think it's hard to compare the mental difficulty of certain sports without playing all of them. So I can't really speak on the mental game of lacrosse or tennis very much, but I know that each sport has its difficulties mentally. But I think for golf it's unique because you're out there for tournaments in college can be up to 6 hours for 18 holes. So when you're out there for that long of a time, hitting, 70, 75, however many shots you're hitting that day, and you really got to focus the best that you can on each one. And on every swing, the stakes are high because if you make a bad swing, you could end up making a double, and that could kill your momentum and ruin your score for the round. Or there's a lot that goes into shooting good scores in golf, and to do that, you really got to focus well, and focusing is not always easy out there. So definitely takes a lot of practice and, trial and error and just maturing, honestly, to get better with all that stuff.
And some people look at golf and they think this is sheer luck, right? You hit that ball, it curves, it goes where it needs to go. We know it's not luck. We know that there's a tremendous amount of skill to golf. Now, when I play, I might be praying to God to blow the ball in a certain direction. But when you're playing this game and you're so involved in it and into the sport, bring me into the art of it, because I am so fascinated when it comes to golf. And my father's been in love with the sport forever and a day, playing it for as long as I've been alive and beyond that, and watching it pretty much every chance he gets. There's so much that goes into the intricate way of playing the game. And it feels like, at least from my perspective, that if you're an 18th of a centimeter off, right? If it's just a tiny little bit, it could change the whole game. Bring me into that component of golf. The fact that it isn't sheer luck. There is an incredible amount of skill, and that this game that seems impossible when you start on the tee is something that you can, like any other sport, kind of map out to the best of your ability and affect in your own way. I'd love for you to go a little bit deeper, having played for so long and loving this sport, just really how you would define golf, because it looks impossible, but obviously there's a way to get it done right, and many people have been able to do that, and you just came off a weekend where you did a lot of things right.
So I'll tell people who are should golf or went to a driving range for the first time is that everyone is terrible when they first start. Even Division I golfers are terrible when they first start golf. And some people get better quicker than others, but overall, everyone starts as a terrible golfer. And I always say it's one of those sports that you get out what you put into it. And I can definitely say that there is going to be a lot of lows along the way, but it's one of those sports that you really do get what you put into it. And, whether it takes 100 hours to get a little better or 1,000 hours to get a little better, you're usually always going to get a little bit better until you hit like the best you can possibly get, that most people never really reach. But so it's a sport that hard work does pay off, and you'll start with a slice, and then you'll work on a few things, and then in a few months it'll get better, and then it'll get a lot better, and then you'll start hitting draws all of a sudden, so the ball's curving the opposite way, and it just changes things for the game. And then your scoring average can go way down, and then maybe eventually you can start working the ball both ways. And yeah, it's just one of those sports that little increments add up over time, and you start to see the results. It can take 10 years, but it's one of those things that it always usually shows itself.
For you, Tynan, what pieces of your game, like going into this season, have improved the most? When you talk about everybody starts out bad at the driving range and little by little you chip away, what have you chipped away at from last season into this season that you can identify and say, like, I've gotten better here, I'm doing this better? What are some of those areas that you really feel like have improved most recently?
From last season, this season, what I would say has impacted my game the most positively would be deciding to switch my putting style from righty to lefty. Okay. I used to be a really good putter when I was young, and then over time, with swing changes and scar tissue and everything just adding up, my stroke got very bad. But my lefty stroke, I played hockey lefty, so it didn't feel foreign. So I think making that switch paid off the most for me. I switched that in March, and then I started to finally see the results of it really in like the last month or so, where it really started to get better. So that definitely helped me out this past weekend and in our qualifying at the beginning of the school year. So that definitely has saved me probably a few shots around now that I can finally get some putts to go in. And aside from that, I would say I've probably gotten my game off the tee straightened out a little bit, so that's not hurting me quite as much. I'm able to get the ball in the fairway to places where I can hit the green more consistently, and that obviously always goes a long way in terms of scoring better.
Yeah, and like we said, coming off of this weekend, having the success that you had, the other time that we saw this, the other time in your career at Binghamton that you finished in the top 20 was at a home event for Binghamton University's Bearcats men's golf team, the 2023 Matthews Auto Collegiate Golf Invitational, and you finished tied for 17th there. Just what you could say about that event to this event. Were there any similarities that you took from last year to this year, finishing in the top 20? Anything that lined up? Or looking back on last year and having the top 20 finish you had over this weekend, are they totally different?
There's definitely a couple similarities because just in terms of focusing out there and knowing what's on the line in terms of hopefully getting a good finish and this past weekend hopefully trying to help out the team. It's definitely that similar mindsets no matter what tournament you're playing.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps you, dig deep when things aren't going well to get things going better and start to get things turning around. But I would say the home tournament last year and this past tournament were definitely different though, because at the home tournament last year I was really struggling with my game. The only thing I really had going for me was my putting, and my ball striking last fall was very poor, and I was in the midst of trying to get some things changed and hopefully figure it out. And I got lucky. Ended up buying that. Found my ball striking for maybe 2 or 3 days just for the home tournament, so the timing was kind of perfect, and somehow was able to put together 2 nice rounds last year. I wouldn't call it luck, just kind of good timing, and was able to take advantage. But this past tournament, I knew my game felt pretty good for the most part, so I was kind of more in the mindset of just making sure to focus well and trusting my abilities, shoot the numbers that I was hopefully going to end up shooting, and there wasn't as much luck or timing involved in that. I think that this past weekend was more so just trusting myself and hitting good shots and focusing well and not thinking about anything else.
How do you shut it all out? How we talk about the mental game of life, not just in sports. How do you shut everything out? How do you quiet your own negative thoughts, anything else that's out there? How do you get onto a course and say, whatever's happened up to this point, good, bad, and indifferent, I'm here, I'm focused, this is my event to win, I know what I need to do? How do you quiet the thoughts and just play your game?
Like I said earlier, I think a big part of golf is just trial and error and learning along the way and maturing as a golfer, and that's definitely part of it. So when I was younger, I obviously had a much harder time with it. I think it's pretty normal for most golfers. You're not as mentally strong or mature out of the gate, so you kind of make some questionable decisions along the way, but over the years you start to become better at that. So that's definitely part of it. I've learned what not to think about out there and what to actually focus on. And whether that is just thinking about trying to think about making a push up the leaderboard instead of shooting a number. That's something that I've started to get better at, because I always knew that when I played my best golf in tournaments, I was just thinking about where I was level to par or on the leaderboard, and the rounds where I would struggle or I end up making some mistakes later in the round, or the rounds I was thinking about shooting like a 70 or 73, or I had like a number in my head. So something I've gotten better at over the years is definitely forgetting the number score and just playing to par and trying to get as low as I possibly can and trying not to focus on anything else, because at the end of the day, that's really all you can do. Just shoot the best you can on the holes that you're about to play, and that's really all there is to it. So that's what I try to focus on now.
Yeah, here with Tynan Jones, Bearcat Break Room in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University, celebrating and spotlighting men's golf here in the 2024 season. Tynan, before we get into what we call rapid fire, where we get to put each other on the hot seat and learn a little bit more about literally whatever. Could be about golf, could be about sports, music, movies, food, whatever we want. Before we get to that, what we have coming up here in the 2024 season that just began with this event in Hamilton, New York, is the fact that there is going to be an event coming up on September 8th to September 10th, and that's going to be the Howard USF Intercollegiate in Rockville, Maryland. And then we have the GOAT in Annapolis, Maryland, in connection with Navy. And then we'll be back in the Southern Tier at Appalachian, New York, with the Matthews Auto Collegiate Golf Invitational, which you mentioned last year. You had a tied for 17th finish in for 2023. That's hosted by Binghamton University. And then in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, not too far away, right before my birthday, October 19th and 20th, for the Lehigh Invitational. That is hosted, obviously, by Lehigh. So when we look at the rest of the schedule coming up, 2 Maryland stints back at home and then out in Pennsylvania, what does this schedule say to you? What are you excited about for you and your teammates to embark on for this 2024 season?
Yeah, I would say we're all very excited for this season. I think we have a lot of guys playing pretty good right now, so I like our chances of having, hopefully a bunch of good tournaments this season, and I think we have a lot of guys playing good enough where that is definitely something that we can achieve. And in terms of the lineup, I think it looks good. It looks like something that we're used to, so it shouldn't be anything too crazy to us. And yeah, we're all excited to keep the tournaments going.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to what you're going to do, as well as the team as a whole, getting out there for the Bearcats on these wonderful golf courses that will be, like we said, in Maryland, New York, and Pennsylvania, so here in the Northeast. Tynan, it's time for rapid fire in this Bearcat Break Room. You get the first question. You can ask me whatever you want. I have to answer it. We'll go back and forth a couple times here, get to know you a little bit better, and see what you got for me. So go ahead when you're ready.
All right. I guess other than golf, what's the most interesting sport to interview athletes for?
I'm not going to, this is not a political answer. I'm saying this as a broadcaster that's been doing it for almost 21 years. I came in loving basketball because I played it, pretty much my whole life. And to me, it was like, this is a sport that I can rock with, football. And over time, you get to know baseball, you get to know softball, you get to know lacrosse and bowling and crew and the world of golf, volleyball, and as the soccer, and as they all start coming in, wrestling, honestly, it's the people that make it fun. And Binghamton was on my radar years ago, and I wanted to do something like this, and I just kept pushing. I kept pushing at it because I was like, the Southern Tier is important to me. The state of New York's important to me. I want to do something with Binghamton. And I just kept pushing and pushing. And, I can honestly say in these first few months of having this partnership with Binghamton University, I really have enjoyed the stories of all of you, of all the student athletes and the coaches. It's been fun. And it makes me have somebody to root for and, a team to root for when you get to know the people on a more personal level. So I love what I do. I don't think I can pick one sport. All I could say is it's been an honor and it's been a lot of fun to talk to the Bearcats, and I'd like to think we're just getting started.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My first question for you, Tynan, here. Let's go to food. I'm hungry in the studio. So what is the one food you can't live without? And what is the one food that you will never, ever try?
The one food I can't live without, I would be lying if I didn't say cereal, probably.
Okay.
I'd say cereal. Definitely my favorite food. It's something I usually have every day. And I even have a whole list of my favorite cereals ranked in order. So a little bit of a cereal nerd. So
I want to hear it because I eat cereal all hours of the day. So I got to know now, not to interrupt. I want to hear your list.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Okay.
Might be a little outdated. I made it last year, so my opinions might have changed. But so we got starting at number one, we got Fruity Pebbles,
Okay.
and then Captain Crunch Berries, and then regular Captain Crunch, and then Lucky Charms, and then Fruit and Yogurt Special K, then Berry Kicks, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Honey Nut Cheerios, Trix, Blueberry K, and that's the top 10. There goes down to 20, but we don't need to go that far.
I like it. I appreciate. You said first was Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
Smart
Big
man.
fan of Fruity Pebbles.
Smart man. All right, what's the food you will never ever try?
Food I will never try.
Yes.
I would say, I'm not sure if this counts because I tried it once when I was young, but like oysters or clams, that's something I like really just haven't eaten since I was probably 4, and I probably never will again. Just because the texture just really grossed me out, I remember, so probably something like that.
Okay, oysters or clams makes sense. What's your last question for me?
I would say, how did you get into the podcasting world or like start your show?
Yeah, I mean, I love telling stories. I've been writing since I was 5 that I can remember on my dad's word processor, which is now in my office. So I would say I've always had a big imagination, always been a storyteller, always loved bringing people together. And then I collected cards, started when I was little, and I realized that I had a photographic memory, that I was looking at cards, and like taking a card and then flipping it to the back and looking at the stats, and I was absorbing it. And then I was sitting at the dinner table, 10 years old, going, Mom and Dad, did you know that Damon Stoudemire scored 18.9 points per game as a rookie? And, he was playing in 22.1 minutes per game, and he also had 6.2 assists and had 2.3 rebounds, and he really didn't turn the ball over that much, and it was sticking with me. So it was like, I love sports. I love bringing people together. I love making people laugh. I love being positive. I love telling stories. So how do I kind of just bring this all together? And, I just, sophomore year of high school, I was like, this is what I want to do. It's not everything I want to do. It's part of it. And then somehow 20 years went by, and we're going to be at 21 years in November. And it's my favorite number, so we're going to celebrate. And I just feel very grateful to God. I get up every day, and I do what I love, and I love what I do. And I'm up until 3:30 in the morning, and I'll go to bed, and get up and do it all over again on a couple hours sleep. And I'll travel, and I'll go from meeting to meeting, interview to interview, and people are like, how do you do this? And you fall in love with it. And I'm such like, I love creating, that every time I make something, I want to make something else. Not because that's not good enough, but I yearn to create. I yearn to be original and authentic and true and honest and just really real. And building relationships at the foundation of everything is my faith in building relationships. So, I want to make the world a better place. And I feel like every single day I have the opportunity to do that by the grace of God. And I'd be stupid to not take it. So that's what I do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's awesome.
My final question for you, Tynan. Besides golf, what is your biggest passion and why?
My biggest passion aside from golf, I would say I've always been a little bit of a history nerd.
Okay.
So I'm not studying history in school or anything like that, but it's something I've always been drawn to and definitely nerded out on as a kid and still do once in a while. But yeah, well, they're, just reading random articles about ancient stuff or presidential history. It's just something I can always go down on a rabbit hole with. So I would definitely say history is something I definitely have a passion and a strong interest for compared to other stuff that just kind of feels like regular stuff I got to do, I guess, in the world. So I'd probably say that.
I'm gonna 2B on this one. If you could go back into any time in history, where would you go and why?
I don't know if I'd want to live there, but I would love to go to like the height of the Roman Empire just for like a day, just to see how everything looked and how everything ran. I feel like that's something that it just seems so cool to me, how they had such a cool civilization so long ago.
Yeah, very intricate system. They said that it was like the first World Wide Web, that they, not internet-wise, but they had built this just connection through the roads and just making sure that their empire was able to communicate with each other, albeit through longer means, but still to do it. So with that being said, Tynan Jones here, you could go out and see him and support him throughout the season for Binghamton University men's golf. Of course, you could see them coming up at home here in the not too distant future. Very excited about everything that is to come, and for getting in the top 20 for the second time in his career at Binghamton University. And doing that here to start off the season is a great sign of all the things that are to come. And maybe, who knows, maybe Tynan and the team can teach me how to golf a little bit better. Maybe we could do a segment of how I'm supposed to swing right. I know how to putt. I call myself the Mariano Rivera of golf. But when it comes to getting that ball off the tee in the right direction, maybe Tynan and the team can help me out. What do you think, Ty? Can you guys help me?
I think we can definitely make that happen, yeah. We'll do our best.
All right. Bearcat Break Room, Tynan Jones here for Binghamton Men's Golf. Tynan, it was my pleasure to have you here. My best to you on the road out in Maryland next, and I look forward to talking with you and the team soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and be able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in '07, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So internet streaming, video, and radio all around the world, and of course in that Buffalo tundra. I'm here with Kingsley Jonathan, defensive end alum to the Syracuse Orange. That's how him and I met. And since then has gone to the Buffalo Bills and Chicago Bears. Spent last season with the Buffalo Bills and is back with the Bills this season, starting the season on the practice squad and working his way back into that lineup that he was a part of throughout last season on the 53-man roster. Buffalo Bills defensive end and Syracuse Orange alum in year 3 in the NFL. It is my absolute pleasure beyond anything else to announce this gentleman as a friend. Kingsley, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, of course, man. Now, listen, it's been a minute. It's crazy, though. Like, we saw each other at the spring game, and that feels like it was like 2 weeks ago, but it was April, and it's September. So, like, what's life been like for these last few months?
Went through off-season workout, had that. Then we had the preseason, the fall camp, I had my first kids camp this off season. Uh, so yeah, just been keeping busy, um, working on myself, and being out there in the community, just doing the much stuff I can do before the season starts. So do have our first game this Sunday. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, and it's amazing that the season's already back here. But you said you had your first ever kids camp. I'd love to get into that and just what that was. So bring me into everything that the kids camp was.
Yeah, I hosted my first ever free kids camp, football camp in Durham, North Carolina this past season, this past off season. It was a 1 day event. It was supposed to be a 2 day event, but we had some changes. It was a 1 day event. It was I wanted to host some older kids from seventh grade to 12th grade. So kids that are starting to look to play like varsity, JV football, and looking to go to college. Um, so it's actually more teaching than anything. So I had a lot of coaches come around to help out with the camp. It was a blast. We had a lot of sponsors that helped us out. So the whole point was just teaching them something that they can carry on to in the next level of football. If they're going into JV, they're going into varsity football, or if they're going to college. So passing some things along that they can use for every position, especially defensive line, because we had a session after the camp was over for just D linemen. We had a few coaches out there with myself, just teaching them, having them ask questions. So that was the biggest thing for me. It wasn't just to go around there. I mean, I love being around younger kids and hanging out with them, spending time with them. But I wanted the camp to be a lot more learning for kids going into the next level of football.
Well, like you said, you wanted it to be for the older kids. Not that you don't like working with the younger kids, but you wanted to help them with these pieces to help get them to that next level, to do the things that they need to do, and also challenge yourself, because you have young kids that you work with, and now you have older kids that you work with. So now you have more of an expanded portfolio of who you've coached and spent some time with. What was the biggest challenge or challenges of working with older kids, and what was the biggest rewards?
I would say the biggest challenge is just sometimes they have habits that have already been formed that is not necessarily the best for them moving forward. So it's just having them break out of those habits that they learned. So compared to younger kids that haven't formed any bad habits per se. So just breaking from that bad habit, the steps they take, or how they use their hands, or how their eyes flow, just those little things like that. Just breaking from that, and I'll say the positive, and it would be like you can see the immediate changes from hey, let's try it this way, or let's do it this way. Run this route this way, get off the ball this way. You can actually see them try to put in what they're being taught, and apply it. So that's also awesome to see how they react to teaching. I'll say they catch up quick.
And for you, were there any, like you said, the camp was a day. By the end of the day, did you have someone or a few people that you looked at and just said, because you said they can implement it so quickly, did you have somebody that stuck out to you, or a few people that stuck out to you, where you were just like, wow, this person is very coachable, They took to it. I told them to do something. They did it the next play. They got right back in the line. They did it immediately. They picked it up. They implemented it. Like, was there anybody that really kind of made you step back and go, that's somebody to watch there. That person can take coaching and understand it and really switch gears when they need to.
Yeah, we had a few guys in the on the defensive line and the offensive line. Like, they picked up some of the things quick. I mean, we didn't fill their heads with too much stuff. We just try to give them little things here and there, so they can go out and have some fun. I just didn't want to. I didn't want it to be like, camps usually is like it's like a workout. It's like a tough workout. I didn't want it to be like that. I just wanted to be come in there, get some work in, get better. And we had some kids that picked up some of the stuff that we were teaching. For the most part, most of them did. But we had some few ones that really picked it up.
Yeah.
And looking forward to see how they implement little things they learn, in their season coming up.
So Kingsley Jonathan here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora of the Buffalo Bills and the Syracuse Orange collegiately before that. Kingsley, bring me into this offseason and just some things that happened. So the season ends with the Buffalo Bills. You were on the 53-man roster at the beginning of the season, on the 53-man roster at the end of the season. From the end of last season with Buffalo to going into training camp, bring me into those months in between. Because I got to see you at Syracuse's spring game, so I got to see you throughout that process time that we're talking about. But what went on in those months from the end of last season, 2023-24, to the beginning of training camp here in 2024-25?
I mapped out my off season. I put time aside for to relax, spend a lot of time with family, but I also set a lot of time in my schedule so I can get good work in with my team that I've been working with for past going on 4 years now. We've been together, so after initial break, time off, relax, let the body heal, coming back into it, we really went after it this offseason. So focus on explosiveness, lateral change, getting off the ball, working on my powers, adding that to the game, my counter moves, my first step quickness, a lot of the things that I saw from the previous year that just a little bit more tune up, get better a little bit here, just a little bit there.
Yeah.
We're really focused on a lot of that, building my strength levels up, and a lot of running, getting my legs under me. I do a lot of special teams, so love being out there running around hitting people. So do a lot of running too, a lot of lifting for the strength levels, and we did a lot of pass rushing, so I can see different looks, different tempos, different sets. Team I work with, we had a lot of people who trained with us, so we had people in there that could that we work with and helped us out. So all those usually what I do every off season, but it was a little tuned up this past off season, and I felt the best I felt going into camp. I felt like I had the best fall camp I've had till date. No doubt about it. I could feel the difference. So yeah, it was like more confidence coming into fall camp, and getting ready to compete. So I felt I controlled what I could control. Put my best foot up there. It was just always things here and there you can always get better at. Always thinking about things that I can improve on, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I feel like I put my best foot forward during the off season, and I did all the training for that. Um, then leading on to training camp, having one of my best training camps. Then going to preseason, had a really good preseason. So you just controlling what you can control is the name of the game.
Yeah, and Kingsley, like you said, I mean, you felt like this was the best that you've gone in from mapping out your off season. Felt like this was the best that you've gone into fall in preparation and overall. So you come out of it on the practice squad, not making the 53-man roster. You're a positive guy. You're a hard-working guy. You're a good guy. And you pushed yourself and felt like you said, this was the best that you were going into a season. So what ended up happening through your perspective that you're going to start the season on the practice squad as opposed to the 53-man roster?
Comes back to just being able to control what I can control.
Yeah.
I knew going into training camp, we had a lot of guys. We had the deepest position group, a lot of vets, guys that have played a lot of football. Just going in there, doing the best that I can, and just letting the chips fall where they may. So, obviously, not where I want to be at this point in the season, but just understanding, you can't. I took a day, get over it, then get back on it, just be where your feet are, accept the challenge that has been put in front of you, and make the most out of it, So I had, after I was released, I had calls from a lot of different teams. Some of them were looking to, pick me off the waivers. It didn't end up happening, but there's a reason for everything. So just being where my feet are and just making the most of this opportunity, just doing the most and the best I can to help us win as a team. So I take pride in whatever I do. Anytime I get out there, I know I go the hardest, put everything out there all the time. So if that's to give them a look in practice squad, that's all I do. You know what I'm saying? So just keep on, keep on fighting to break back in there.
Well, yeah, and like you said, Kingsley, coming into this, when you look at the defensive ends in Buffalo, Greg Rousseau, DeJuan Smoot, who I spent time with from when he was drafted by the Jaguars from Illinois, A.J. Epinesa, Von Miller, Casey Toohill, and so on and so forth. What can you say about that room and what you take from those guys as well as how you make those guys better?
We're always competing. It's a great group of guys. Everybody's special in their own way. Everybody has their fastball. Everybody's played really good football in the NFL. So it's just learning from each other. Some things, because Smooth being able to play the inside and go outside, little things that he uses, some tools in his bag, just picking up a few things from him, always learning from Vaughn. Till today, I'm still learning from him. So learning from people like Greg. Greg is taking a big step in this game, getting the feel of his body and how, he's making the most out of his rushes with his body. Using his length and all that. It's just little things here and there that you can, when we sit down and break down the film together, what were you thinking here? We ask ourselves that question all the time, in the meeting room. Just, hey, Vaughn, what are you thinking there? Smooth, what are you thinking there? And just listen to the guys break down break down the rushes or break down the situations. Like, Kingsley, what are you thinking here? Like, okay, this is what I'm thinking in my rush here. Like, we listen to each other break down rushes, and we all learn from each other, pick things up from each other. So it's just iron sharpens iron in that room. So we were still a unit. Rushing is one, and working to get better is one.
Yeah, and the practice squad, when we hear it, how people think about the interaction of it, or what does this look like? Here's the 53 man, and then here's the practice squad roster. How does the interaction happen? What is life like? Because some people kind of see it as a holding pattern, right? It's a place of, if you need somebody, you could take them out if they work their way out, if an injury happens or whatever. But how would you describe what it's like to be inside of the practice squad, where you're a part of this team, but an extension of it? You're still there, but how would you describe what there means when it comes to the practice squad?
The way I look at it, we do everything. Everybody, we all do the same things: practice together, work out together, watch meetings together, do indie together, treatment together. So only difference is that we don't play on Sundays. So that's how I look at it. Primarily in practice, we our job, is to help give them great looks. So getting ready for Sunday, and taking pride in that, and making sure they get a good look for what they're going to see on Sunday. And when you do get called up, you're going to be ready, because we do everything that everybody does. So it's not a big of a jump when you do get called up to play.
Yeah, and Kingsley's here with Kingsley Jonathan of the Buffalo Bills, and also Syracuse Orange football history at defensive end, going into year 3 in the NFL, which is 2024-25. Like I said, you're a positive guy. So when I see practice squad, I don't see a different Kingsley Jonathan. I see somebody who has had adversity in his life before, someone who has had to pave his own way, and he did a great job. And anytime a wall was there, or, the drawbridge was taken up and there was water to cross, I've seen you cross it. I don't question your ability to do it. I look forward to who you become every time you're tested, because you're a good person and you're a hardworking person, and good, hardworking people that keep God first will succeed. I believe that, no matter how much adversity there is. So that positivity and that faith that drives you, bring me into that. You're leveling up as Kingsley Jonathan right now. What does that look like? Bring me into your faith, your positivity, and how you're leveling up. Because when you do hit the field, I would not want to be the person that you hit first, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's just, I appreciate you saying that. I have, since I was young, I've been, Christian, Catholic. My parents, very prayerful. Parents back home and the parents here, very prayerful. So I have a lot of people interceding for me. I have a lot of people that pray for me. I have a lot of people that keep me in their prayers, that bless me, that send me best wishes. And I don't take that for granted at all. And I know that as much as I pray, I know there are people that are praying for me more than I pray for myself. And I credit that to be why I'm in this position at all. Like, nobody expected undrafted free agent rookie from Syracuse to make it this far in the league, or make it to the 53-man roster at all, or to still be on the team this far along. So it's just understanding that everything happens for a reason, and God did not take me this far to only just bring me this far. And keeping that as the point in my prayers, just understanding, there's a reason for everything. My ultimate goal, as I've spoken to you about, is just being able to use my platform to help as many people as I can. And for as long as I can do that, I'll continue to do that. And just being conscious that I know there are a lot of people praying for me. And that is what is keeping me here. That is what has brought me here. And that's what's going to keep me here for a long time. So, yeah, I know it's bigger than what I can do or whatever I haven't done. So that's not by my powers that I'm here. So it's just understanding that God has a reason for everything, and He has brought me this far. Keeping Him at the forefront of everything I do.
I love it, and I appreciate it. And I want to go back to, for those that are watching and listening that may not know Kingsley personally, I want to go back to the spring game. I saw Andre Cisco and you, as well as Zaire Franklin. I've interviewed you all, spent time around you all. Zaire with the Colts, Andre with the Jaguars, you with the Bills and the Bears, and obviously met you all at Syracuse. When you came up, there was no ego, no I'm an NFL guy, no I make money, I got it like that. You walked up to me, you had a big smile, you said, "Man, it's good to see you." And you put your hands on my shoulders, and then you looked at me and smiled again, and you said, "Man, it really is. It's great to see you." And you gave me a hug. And one smile would have been nice. One hug, one wave. "Hey, Dan, I remember you. Didn't forget about you." Would have been nice. But you came over, and the humble, kind, appreciative, to me, it was like, I'm always going to be a big kid. And it was like you were like that too. It was like two big kids back in the playground, seeing each other, being like, "What's up, man? How you been? What you been up to?" And I just want to tell you that way that you are, keep that. Because I walked away from there with my buddy Isaac, who we do Tortora and Alfred with, and I walked away from that and I was like, man, Kingsley's just a good man. He's just a good dude. And I was like, he makes you feel important. He makes you feel seen. He makes you feel appreciated. And if there's anybody that, you're going to root for and run through a wall for, it's the people that you get excited to see, the friends that you miss, and then you get to bump into, that God crosses your paths with again. And then you're thinking oh my God, Kingsley, I'm going to go over and, shake his hand, give him a hug, ask him how he's doing. It's great to see him. And then I got that from you first. So I just want to say to the Bills, to Sean McDermott, to the other 31 NFL franchises, to fans everywhere, and to really just the human race, you're not just a good defensive end. You're not just an asset on the defensive line or an asset defensively in general or on special teams. You're somebody that lets people be seen. You're someone that when someone's looking at you like a celebrity, you flip it and look at them that way. And I walked out of the room that day going, if Kingsley Jonathan was happy to see me today, maybe that means I did something right. So I just want to let you know that I can't thank you enough for your smile and your attitude and your positivity. It's people like yourself that make me feel like something that I put down, someone's picking up. And I just think the NFL is far blessed to have you beyond tackles and interceptions and forced fumbles and fumble recoveries. And I just wanted to say that.
I appreciate that, Dan. I appreciate that. That was great to hear. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. It was good to see you too, so that was good.
So before we hop out of here, we're going to play rapid fire here in a second. But Kingsley, you got put on the practice squad with a guy that makes me feel like I'm 115 years old. And that's Frank Gore Jr. In what world does this man have a child that's a junior that's in the NFL right now? He's on the he's on the practice squad with you, running back. Mike White, who's done some good things. He's there at quarterback. Deion Kane from Clemson at wide receiver. There's another D-end with you, Cameron Klein. And, of course, there's a bunch of other names. Would love to get your thoughts on some of these guys that you're on the practice squad with, including the fact of, or including the reality that I want to know how old you feel. That I genuinely feel like, and you know what it is? It's Frank Gore's fault. Because Frank Gore Sr. played in the NFL till he was like 82 years old.
Yeah, so, he did play a long time.
So bring me into like just the wildness of Frank Gore Jr. being there on the practice squad with you, and just what this practice squad level of character is, because this is no joke practice squad. There's some names on here that I feel like might find their way either onto the Bills or somewhere else this season.
Yeah, we definitely have a stacked squad and practice squad. I would say this: we have in the hallway in the Bills facility, we have this hallway with pictures of for every win we've had for like the past 4 years, the last 4 years, and there's a picture there of Frank Gore running the ball. I don't remember what year it was. I believe, I don't want to guess. I want to say, was it 20 or 19? Or, I'm not sure. But he still has his picture up there, so it couldn't have been that much far back that he played wearing that Bills logo. So to have his son walk the same hallway and see his dad, a picture of his dad in that hallway, it is crazy. He came around before the Panthers game, and he was in a team meeting, and he was there after the game too. So that is something. The only difference, two of them, is just one has long hair and the other one has cut his hair. So there's that. For the rest of the guys, it's just we all would love to be, on the squad, and just embracing the role that we are currently in, and for each guy just making the most out of it, So we do have really good guys on that practice squad, so it should be a good year for us.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. You've been great about answering my questions. I'm not going to put you on the hot seat in rapid fire, Kingsley, but you can give me a couple. What's your first one for me?
A question for you?
Yes.
All right, I'll let you choose the category. How broad you want me to take it?
You can go music or movies, I guess, with the first one.
All right, bet. What's the best latest movie you've seen in the past year?
Gotta be Deadpool and Wolverine.
That was a good movie.
Gotta be Deadpool and Wolverine, because there's 3 movies that Marvel Studios has done right in recent history since Spider-Man No Way Home. And those 3, my theory is that the people that were working on those told Disney, we're not doing any of your stuff, we're doing no propaganda, we're doing no political. Ryan, I feel, and this is just my opinion, Ryan Coogler with Black Panther Wakanda Forever shut his door to the Disney execs and said, I'm making a passion project for Chadwick, let me do my thing. James Gunn got fired from Disney because of something he wrote like 10 years ago, and then the whole Guardians cast was like, pretty much, we're going to walk unless he comes back. He came back, and I think he slammed his door and said, let me do my thing. And then Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levi, you're not going to change their mind on who Deadpool is. So I think the 3 movies that did the best in recent history under Disney's umbrella in Marvel Studios are because the people that were creating these movies were making movies dedicated to the characters, not dedicated to anything that the company is doing or stocks and propaganda and what's going on in culture. They made movies that stayed true to the characters, and that's why they were successful. So I want to thank Sean. I want to thank Ryan. I want to thank Ryan Coogler as well. And I want to thank James Gunn for all the work that they did, as well as everybody else on these projects, because these movies were good because they did not give up the sanctity of the characters. And that's something that I think Disney's done a lot of lately. So I'm happy that they didn't do that.
Yeah, that was a good movie to see in theaters, especially. Big shout out, we're giving them this in here. Our last one, favorite Guns N' Roses song.
Oh my goodness, favorite Guns N' Roses song. I'm gonna have to.
I was spotting the T-shirt, so I might as well.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna look at their list here right now because Lord knows I'm gonna forget something. So, okay, Welcome to the Jungle is great. Knocking on Heaven's Door. I'm probably gonna have to say one that I rocked out to and have sang a bunch and get really in, as well as the one that I probably played on Guitar Hero the most, which is Sweet Child of Mine.
I feel that.
What's your favorite Guns N' Roses since you're rocking the shirt?
The most obvious one. Welcome to the Jungle.
Okay.
The most obvious one. Even though it's a cliche, but it is.
Yeah. No, I love it. So
you cannot sing along with it.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you played at any stadium, any arena, and you start like flashing the lights around, people are just going to go nuts. It's just how it is. Yeah. So, Kingsley, Jonathan, I look forward to playing Welcome to the Jungle when you run back out onto the field.
Yes, sir.
Kingsley, Jonathan, Syracuse Orange, and alum, as well as Buffalo Bills current defensive end in year number 3 here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Kingsley, it is always my honor and my privilege to speak with you. God is good, and he has put us, crossed our paths and put us in front of each other, which I'm grateful for always. And I look forward to every conversation we get to have. I hope you and I get to do something in person, hopefully sooner than later. But you've always been gracious with your time, and I cannot thank you enough. So God bless, and I'm praying for you. I'm part of that prayer team, and we're going to see you back on the field, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, DT.
Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9 K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315 487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and collecting card shop. They have so many different things that you can enjoy, from Disney Lorcana to Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and of course in the sports world, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, soccer, AEW, UFC, all sport. So many great things at GG Cards and Breaks, from singles to graded cards to packs and boxes. Either go and look through their showcases and pick out something that you want that's right there in front of you, or open a pack or a box and see what you can find. I like to do both. I like to have that element of surprise with a pack or a box, and then at the same time to try and find something where you know what you're getting and say, okay, that's my favorite player, or I'm collecting that guy, or I really want to have that autograph, so I'm going to bring that home. GG Cards and Breaks, it is such an awesome experience. You're never too old. There's never the right age to, well, what I should say is the right age is right now. However old you are, the right age is right now for GG Cards and Breaks for you to become a sports card and trading card collector if you haven't started already. So we look forward to seeing you out there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. That is GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Feel like a big kid, or if you are a kid, feel like yourself, right? You know, it is that kid spirit that you get from collecting cards is just something that I've always appreciated and I love so very much. So looking forward to the opportunity to enjoy seeing you all out there. I love being out there, and I just truly appreciate what they've done for the community. So much love and respect to GG Cards and Breaks for all their hard work, dedication, and determination in our beautiful community of Central and Upstate New York. With that being said, here on the show this morning, we have the ingredients to success rounding out every Tuesday broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And the ingredients to success for today's show on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, our topic that we're focusing on is going to be the topic of their opinions don't matter. Simple as that. Their opinions don't matter. Whose opinions? Anybody outside your own, right? You got to know yourself. Does that mean that, am I telling you that people that love you can't give you good advice? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying advice. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying their opinions of you, those that don't know you, that don't understand you, that aren't around you, that don't spend time with you, and even some of those that do spend time with you. Your opinion of yourself, you know you better than anybody else. And when you know you, it is your duty to take care of yourself. Your duty to be good to yourself. Your duty to listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Listen to what's going on with you. You got to be yourself. You got to bet on yourself. When I tell you their opinions don't matter, what I'm telling you is you don't live your life for other people's praise. You don't live your life for other people to tell you how great you are and how amazing you are and this, that, and whatever. You should be living your life to the best of your ability to do the best that you can and to go after the things you want to go after. You only have one shot. You got one life. That's it. And once it's done, it's done. So for you, the time to enjoy it is right now. The time to celebrate it is right now. You don't have time to live in the past. You don't have time to sit here and worry and fret. You have to give all you can to the time that you have. You have to. Because this world is going to tell you who they think you are. This world is going to try and determine your value. They're going to try and tell you exactly what you bring to the table. They're going to tell you if you matter or not. And you can listen to it, or you can live your own life. And you have to make that decision of what you're going to do. Are you going to choose to live your life the way that you want to live it? Or are you going to choose to live your life the way that other people tell you to live it? I'm not saying that there's not good advice out there. Don't misconstrue my words. What I'm saying to you is, I'm 38 years old, and I wish that I had believed back in the day this statement: other people's opinions of me are none of my business. They're none of my business. Because people are going to think what they want to think. You can be completely clear with your intentions, and people could take you wrong. You could do everything you set out to do, and people could say you didn't do enough. You can ask somebody to live by their word, and they can say, how dare you? You can do everything that is in your power and still be on the wrong side of a double standard. A lot of people like to tell people what they expect and what they want, but how many times I've seen somebody tell me this is everything I ask people for, and then I watch that person not give a single one of those things to the people that they're demanding give that back to them. How can you ask somebody to be on time when you're always late? How can you ask somebody to value you when you don't value them? How can you ask someone to keep their word when you don't keep yours? But that happens all the time. That's why we get frustrated as people. We say, why am I doing this, that, and the third for somebody who's not even doing a tenth of that for me? You have to understand that no matter what you do in your life, no matter what goes on, no matter what decisions you make, you can do everything right and still be sitting here saying, why isn't this working? Why isn't this happening? Why am I not getting what I want? Why am I not having the outcomes that I'm hoping to have? That's a reality, folks. Because this world, as my dad told me a long time ago, just because you're this way, son, doesn't mean they're this way. Just because this is how you love doesn't mean this is how they love. Just because you are going to keep your word doesn't mean that they're going to keep theirs. He said, you see the world through your eyes, but you have to understand that not everybody treats people the way that you treat people. And that's a very hard thing that I've had to accept over time, because I was raised with morals and values to be who you say you are. And I was raised that way thinking everybody else was raised that way. So when people didn't do what they said that they were going to do, when people were giving double standards and being hypocrites, I said, well, we were all taught the same thing. How dare they go against what's right? And it's like, well, some of them weren't taught that. Some of them were taught that and didn't listen. Some of them don't care. And see, growing up as a kid, I thought we were all raised the same way. I thought we were all coming from the same place, but that's not the case. Not everybody values what you value. Not everybody cares about what you care about. And that's a really hard thing to take in, because I thought everyone at their baseline had common human decency, knew what hypocrisy was, knew double standards, knew respect, right? That people are going to say something and they're going to do it. But the older that you get, you realize that not only do people not keep their word, they don't even care. Some people talk to people in such a disrespectful way, and to them, there's nothing wrong with how they're speaking. They'll tell you you're wrong. You know, one of the things growing up is that somebody would hurt my feelings and I would verbalize it with them, which is a very courageous thing to do. They treat you like you're weak, right? Oh, you're so weak that this bothered you. And they try to shame you into thinking that what they did or said was okay. And one of the things that I heard growing up all the time was, I didn't say anything that was hurtful. You're just weak. You're just a girl. That's what a lot of people would say growing up to a guy. They would say, you're just a girl. You're weak. And they would make that connotation between women and weakness. And I don't believe women are weak. I don't believe men are weak. I believe individuals may choose to not try and not give. And I hope that they reconsider that, because again, you only have one life to live. So when I was growing up as a kid, if somebody hurt my feelings, they said, you're just sensitive or you're weak. No apology. Unless the apology was, I'm sorry that you're too sensitive. Right? Someone hurts your feelings and they tell you, well, I didn't really hurt you. You're just sensitive. And that was such a mean thing to say to somebody. I didn't hurt you. You're just too sensitive. And you look back on the things that they did and you're like, no, that would still hurt me now. Or I would think it's not right. You know, how dare I say something or do something and it really genuinely hurt somebody, and I'm like, whatever, I'm not going to apologize. You're just too sensitive. So when you are going through life, people are going to have opinions of you all the time. And they're not going to value you the way that you value yourself every single time. Some people will value you more than you value yourself. Some people will see the light in you before you see it. Some people will love you so deeply that maybe it'll awaken your want to love yourself. And those people are angels, and they're beautiful, and they're gifts from God, and they're blessings. I'm not talking about those people in this topic. I'm talking about the people that just say dumb you know what. You know, you go on the internet and you get all these great messages, and then you just get some random human being with no picture and no real name just putting nasty on your timeline, and you look at this and you're like, okay, SJC 9777283 big booty. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not a real person. I mean, and the thing is even if this is a person, this person who wants to attack a total stranger, which could be you today, they don't show their face. Some of them do, but they hide. A lot of times they hide. They hide behind fake names. They hide behind fake situation or fake, like profile usernames that don't make any sense and that doesn't tell you who they are. What I'm asking you is whether somebody is right in front of your face and you know who they are and you know their name, or there's some stranger on the internet and there's no face and there's no name. Other people's opinions of you should not trump your opinion of yourself. You should be loving yourself. You should be taking care of yourself. You should be giving the best you can to yourself. Because there is no guarantee of how much time you have. So you might sit here and say, well, I'll be nice to myself tomorrow. I'll take care of myself tomorrow. I'll be good to myself tomorrow. But there aren't any tomorrows forever and ever and ever and ever on this world. There is eternal life through Jesus Christ. But in this world, we don't live forever. And if Joe Burrow listened to people's opinions of him, he probably wouldn't throw that many completions. If Celine Dion looked at all the negative messages on social media, she may stop singing if she let that get to her. See, we have this misconception that these people that we love to watch and see, that they have no feelings, that they're completely unaffected by everything, that nothing bothers them, that they're not even human, that they're above human, that Taylor Swift isn't human, right? That the Kardashians aren't human. And I joke about things, and I joke and say, like, I don't watch Kardashian, this, that, whatever. And that I would never name my kid Kardashian and whatever. But the reality of it all is I'm joking. I never seek to hurt them. I never seek to hurt anybody, personally attack anybody. I don't want anybody personally attacking me. I'm not going to personally attack you. Am I fond of how certain people treat certain people? No, I'm not. Do I like how sitting here in my studio right now, there's people that have disrespected me in the here and now that I'm very disappointed in? Do I like that? No, I don't like that. But I have no desire to personally attack them, shame them, or bring them down. Because I don't want to see them fail. If they want to see me fail, hey, that's their funeral. I'm not going to fail. They're going to have a really crappy life watching me succeed. It's something to note that people that are older than you, that have been around the block for a minute, they tell you enjoy your life, enjoy your present, enjoy the moments, stop living in the past, start enjoying your time, start enjoying your life, start enjoying the people around you. They tell you that over and over and over. My dad told me yesterday. He said, stop living in the past and start enjoying your life. That's what my dad said. So I'm going to ask you to do the same thing today. Other people's opinions of you, those are their opinions. I have seen, there are incredible singers out there that people make fun of. There's comedians that make me laugh all the time that people hate. There's nobody on this planet that doesn't have at least one hater. There's nobody. Sometimes it's your parent. Sometimes it's your grandparent. Sometimes it's your sibling. Sometimes it's a stranger on the internet. Sometimes it's another person in the same field as you. Sometimes it's a peer. It's a classmate. Sometimes it's an employee or a boss. Sometimes it's somebody on the subway. Sometimes it's a bus driver, right? Sometimes it's somebody you're dating. We all have haters. We all do. We all do. If you are doing well by yourself, you're being healthy and you're living your life to the fullest, you have a hater. Get used to it. See, I didn't want anybody to hate me growing up. I was like, I'm going to be nice to everybody and everybody's going to be nice to me. It makes sense. Sounds simple enough, but you can be nice to everybody on the planet and they're not all going to be nice back to you. And it says more about them than it does about you. So what I would tell you this morning and at any time during the day is just be a good person. Be good to yourself. Be good to other people. Be good to animals. Be good to nature. Be good to God. Because you did not come here by mistake, by some happenings of happenings. There is divine intervention in the creation of you. They say that every single person's body, inside of our body, is a solar system. They said that's how they would describe it. They said there's so much going on inside of every human being, it's like a solar system. And not one solar system is exactly the same. That even though I came from my mom and my dad, my inner being, my solar system of working parts is not exactly the combination of my mom and my dad. There's something in there that is unique to me. There's something to be said about that. If every one of us is a unique solar system, if we are all our own footprint, handprint, star in the sky, then why not shine? Stop thinking about what people think of you. It will only slow you down. It will only slow you down. And I'm not saying speed through life. I'm saying do not put your feet in quicksand anymore. Love yourself, love others, and do not let them dim your spirit. If your brightness makes them ashamed of their darkness, that is not your problem. That is not something for you to apologize for. And you're not doing anything wrong. People that attack other people especially strangers or people that you might know their face, you might have been, but you don't know anything about them. People that treat other people unfairly, 99.9% of the time would never want what they're saying and doing to come back to them. They would never, someone who doesn't pay you would never want to go unpaid. Someone who disrespects you would never want to be disrespected. Someone who accuses you of something and is wrong, they don't want to apologize, but they would want an apology. I've found that in life, that the people that do these just really rude and crass and just ridiculous things would never, ever want those things to be done to them. Isn't that amazing? That the people that lie to you and cheat from you and steal from you and waste your time and expect an apology and expect you to be on time and expect their money and expect this and expect that, they don't have any of those expectations of themselves toward you or anybody else. They give themselves a get-out-of-jail-free card when they expect everybody else to pay up. So stop thinking about opinions of others and start thinking about how you view yourself and how you talk to yourself. Because how you talk to yourself ends up creating the life that you have. The way that you speak to yourself, the way that you treat yourself, that affects your life. That affects who you become. How you see yourself and how you talk to yourself, that determines exactly what you end up looking like in your future. If you don't treat yourself with respect, if you talk down to yourself, if you disrespect yourself, you will accept that from other people. You will start to see yourself as lower. The challenge of life is when you have a bunch of people yelling at you, spitting on you, and calling you names, is if you can love yourself through that. If you can see yourself through that. If you can love and appreciate and be good to yourself. The challenge of life is when the world slaps you, do you have the composure to not slap it back? And do you love yourself enough to say, yes, I've been slapped, but I know that I didn't deserve it. And I am not going to stand here and take that. I'm not going to slap back. I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to stoop to their level. And I'm also not going to be somebody's victim. I'm going to rise. I'm going to stand tall. I'm going to stand right next to God. And we're going to figure this thing out. Don't you ever give up. And always know that you go with God. You're never alone. And God bless you all. Those have been the ingredients to success. Proudly brought to you by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. Go out to Avicolli's every single week. They are open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. And they are at 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road. And you can call them for takeout, delivery, and catering at 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. You can also get in touch with them by going to myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. So make sure you head over there today. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you. I appreciate you all for going over there. You could say DT sent me if that's easier for you. And I thank you all for trusting in us and going out there and supporting small business and supporting local at Avicolli's. They're a fantastic place. We're going to be there this week, and I can't wait. We're going to be celebrating the Liverpool Warriors 2024 football season, and with head coach Sindoni, as well as the student athletes. We look forward to seeing you this Wednesday, September 4th at 7 p.m. at Avicolli, so make sure you mark that on your calendar and plan that for pizza and wing night and come out and see us and have some fun with us. I thank you all for tuning in up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Once the shows go live, they hop into the archive, and you can hang out with us on all of our wonderful channels, that being Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, as well as the Brooklyn Pickle down in North Carolina. Go and visit them today, 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, right down the road from Pinehurst Golf Courses. Big time thanks here in the state of New York to Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicolli's, GG Cards and Breaks, Brian's Landing, Ma and Pa's, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Mother's Cupboard, Servomation, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Hang out with your Dolphins Wednesdays during Dolphin Time, exclusively here on Wake Up Call, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. We jump into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. And, of course, you'll find the Lemoyne playlist. You'll also find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And, as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We are in the men's and women's soccer seasons, and we got a great special set up for you. We call it the Bobcat Buzz, and that Bobcat Buzz is going to be coming to you this Wednesday right after the Dolphin Dive. Will be into the Bobcat Buzz in hour number 1 on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, featuring student athletes Jono, Johnny, and Antonio, as well as head coach Nick Dimitrievsky, joining me from the Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse Bobcats men's soccer team going into the 2024-25 season. You can find all the Bobcat content over the years by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You can also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Bearcats on Tuesdays like today during Bearcat Time, which is exclusive to Wake Up Call, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide, with student athletes, coaches, and administration in the Bearcat break room, and moments with Marshall throughout the year featuring Gene Marshall, the Binghamton University Athletics Director. You can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. You'll also find the Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel, and you can find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, I want to thank my incredible guests inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Big time thanks to my guy Cole Burgess, who made it on the practice squad as an undrafted free agent out of SUNY Cortland NCAA Division III program. He's the 2023 national champion with the rest of his teammates of the Red Dragons, and he is now a Cincinnati Bengal. Big time thanks to Tynan Jones, who finished in the top 20 at the first event of the 2024 season for Binghamton University men's golf team, and looking forward to everything that him and his teammates are going to do as they step forward this season. Big time shout out to Tynan. And, of course, Kingsley Jonathan heading into year 3 in the NFL. Year 1, undrafted free agent rookie. He went on to the Buffalo Bills and the Chicago Bears. Spent all of last season on the 53-man roster is where he started and where he ended last season with the Buffalo Bills. And now in year 3 on the practice squad with the Bills, looking to get himself out there on the field once again. And I believe in him as I believe in Cole, and I look forward to seeing those guys on Sundays, as well as Mondays, Tuesdays, and whenever else they play. And a big time thanks to Avicolli's for the ingredients to success, giving you the topic today to not focus on the opinions of others. Focus on your opinion of yourself and take care of yourself and pray to God when you need direction, safety, and security. So with that being said, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. Come out and see us tonight at Pizza Man, 50 Oswego Street, Baldwinsville, New York, tonight at 6 p.m. If you're out of town, you can watch on all of our channels that we're on right now. You can watch and listen worldwide. For those of you in town, please come out and hang out. We are celebrating Tyler Rouse's career, and we are welcoming him home to Baldwinsville. He was here as a running back, did an incredible job with the Baldwinsville Bees, went and played Division I-A FBS football for the Boston College Eagles and head coach Steve Adazio, and then he went on to be a coach on the staff of the Tennessee Titans and is now back in Baldwinsville helping his coach at his alma mater, Carl Sanfilippo and the Baldwinsville Bees, and we are celebrating his story, Tyler Rouse, and the chapter that he's writing right now. We're going to celebrate him with a welcome home live broadcast. Come out and see it, 50 Oswego Street at Pizza Man tonight, September 3rd at 6 p.m. We look forward to seeing you out there. And as always, folks, God bless, no stress, do your best. Have a wonderful day, and take care of yourself.